Hello, in this tutorial I will be demonstrating how to create a very simple shooting game. I will start this game by creating the sprites required for this game. I'm using some of the images which are ready made. So I'll use a flower vase. I'll use this to be my target. I'm going to reduce its size so that it fits neatly in my game. Then I need a pedal, which I will move at the bottom of the screen. I will paint the pedal by using a blue rectangle. I will add some logic now to these sprites. I'll start with the first sprite. I'll rename it. I'll call it target. From the controls area, I'll add an event when the green flag is clicked. And what I want to do is that I want to move this flower vase so that it moves randomly across the screen and stays a few seconds before it actually moves to a new position, making it harder for me to aim and hit this vase. So I'll use the when the green flag is clicked, then I'll use a forever loop because I want to run this operation till the end of the game. I'll use the go to XY to move the vase. I would like the vase to be on the top of the screen, so I'll keep the Y position fixed, but the X position I want to randomize. So as usual, I'll move the vase to the left hand side, check what the minimum number is, it's minus 206, move it to the right hand side, it's 207, so the randomization which I will be using will be from minus 206 to 207, and that will be my x-axis. After going to that random position, I want to wait for a few seconds. Now even here, in order to make this game a bit more unpredictable, I will wait for a random amount of seconds. So I will pick a random number between 1 and 6. From the control section, I will use the wait block and put the random number in there. I'll just test this, and as you can see, the vase is actually moving to random areas of the screen, but always at the top part of my screen. Now I'll add logic to the pedal so that I can move the pedal using the left and the right arrows. So again, when the green flag is clicked, I will go to the middle of the screen at the bottom area, so I'll use the motion. Actually, so I'll switch to the pedal first. I'll change the name to pedal. Then from the control area, I'll choose the when the green flag is clicked. I will put the pedal in the middle of the screen in the lower area of my screen. So the X position I'm going to put to 0, which would be middle, and I'm going to leave the Y as minus 171, which is basically the bottom of the screen. I'm going to put in a forever loop so that the code in this loop will be executed till the end of the game. And here I must sense if the player has pressed the left or the right arrow keys. So I'll use the if statement, and I'll say if the key left is pressed, then if it is left is pressed, I want to change the X by minus 10, which would mean I will move it this way, towards the left. So change x by -10. And we'll do the same thing, might as well duplicate the script, this time for the right arrow, and I'll move the x by 10. Again, I'm going to test this, and the pedal is moving at the bottom of the screen once I press the left and right button. Once I have all this in place, it's time to create a bullet, which I will trigger from the pedal once I press the space bar on the keyboard. I will be drawing the bullet as a new sprite. I'll change its name from sprite1 to bullet. In order to track whether the bullet should be visible or not, I will need to use a variable. The variable in this case I'm going to call shooting, and it will track whether the bullet is visible, so the bullet has been shot from the pedal, or it's actually invisible because the spacebar has not been pressed. So I'm clicking on the variables, make a new variable, and I'm going to call this variable shooting. Now when the green flag is clicked, I want the shooting variable to be off. So I'm going to set shooting to 0. If the person is not shooting, I want the bullet to be invisible and hidden behind the pedal. So from the control section, I'm using a forever loop. Actually, I'll use a forever if loop, because I want this loop to work only if the bullet is not being shot. So forever if shooting equals 0, so from the variables I'll choose the shooting is 0. So if the bullet is not being shot, then I want the look to be hidden, and I want the bullet to go behind the pedal. So I'll use the motion go to pedal. This go to is very useful, especially when it comes to shooting, because the bullet will actually be moving once I am moving the pedal as well. So if I run the script, the pedal can be moved left to right and the bullet is actually invisible. It's just hidden behind the pedal. Now I want to code the firing part of the game. So from the control section, I will choose the when space key is pressed, and the first thing I will do is I will set the shooting to 1. I am setting shooting to 1 so that the loop which hides the bullet and moves it to behind the pedal is actually stopped, because shooting now is 1. At this point, I will show the bullet, and I want to move the bullet from the bottom part of the screen till the end of the screen. Now, in order to find out where the bullet should be displayed, I'm just going to show it and move it to the top. That way, I can actually find out the Y location where I want the bullet to stop being shown. So if I put it somewhere here, that's in the middle of the vase, so that should be something like 136. Now, I'm going to use a different loop this time. Rather than the forever, I'm going to use a repeat until block. So I want to change the Y of the bullet by 10, and I want to keep doing it until the Y position arrives to 136, which is in the middle of the vase. So from the operators, I will choose the equality. Actually, better to choose the greater, because equality would have to choose for a particular value. And since I'm always adding by 10, I don't know the initial position, and it might not be a particular one value like 136. So it's better to say greater than 136. So from the motion, I'm choosing the y-axis, y position, and I'm checking that the y position until the y position is greater than 136. Again, 136 is the current position of the bullet, which is in the middle of the vase. So I'll keep running, keep changing the y until the y position is greater than 136, which means that the bullet has arrived to somewhere here. Now, at this point I have to check whether the bullet has hit the vase or not. So I'm going to use an if statement. So if the bullet is touching the vase, my target, then I actually have to notify the screen that I have hit the vase, so the vase will actually move to somewhere else. To notify the other sprites, I will use the broadcast. So broadcast, this will be a new message, and I'll broadcast hit vase, hit target. The names which I'm using here I can invent. It's important that you use something which is readable, so that when you use it from the other side you can actually remember what the broadcast was shot for. Once I hit the target, we can actually turn the bullet off, so we will hide it. I will do this by setting the shooting to 0. So shooting is 1 initially, but once I've hit something I'll set the shooting to 0 so that the bullet will be reloaded in the pedal. I will also hide the bullet. So from the looks I'll choose hide and I'll put it in the if statement. Now it could be the case that once the bullet arrives to position 136, it did not touch the target. So if that happens, I'm going to set the shooting to 0 and hide it just the same. So these two blocks will only work if the bullet does not hit, because once it arrives to here I want the bullet to be actually removed from the screen and put back in the pedal. I'll now move to the target, and I have to add some action when the bullet hits the target. So from the control section I'm going to choose the when I receive hit target, and hit target only occurs when the bullet hits the vase. So when I receive hit target, I will change the points by 1. So I'll create a variable first, so I can keep track of the points, and I'll just change the points by 1. That way I am tracking that I've hit the vase. Then I'll simply move the vase to another place on the screen and wait for a few seconds. Let me try this out. Once I press the space, I am actually shooting, but once I shoot the first time, I cannot shoot again. So I have a bug in my script. I'll go back to the bullet and let's see where the problem is occurring. In the loop here, I'm going to change the condition so that the bullet is moved until the y position is greater than 136, so it reaches the vase, or the shooting is set to 0. So if for some reason I set the shooting to 0, I want to stop the loop. So from the operators, I'm going to choose an OR. So I can say if the y position is greater than 136, or variables or shooting is 0. Let's try it now. There you go, it's working fine. I can now shoot. Without any problems. It would make sense in this game to actually create some sort of sound which would be triggered once I hit the vase. So I'll switch to the bullet. I can stop the game there. I'll switch to the bullet. I'll go to sounds. I can record a sound if I want to, but in this case, to keep it simple, I'm just going to import a sound. I'll use the bell tool. So basically I will play the bell once I hit the vase. To do that, I'll go to the scripts, and where I have broadcast target, I'll simply say play bell toll. So the sequence is first I import in the sounds, and then actually I run it in the scripts. So let's start the game again. Before I do so, the point is still 12. I want that to be set to 0 when I start the game, so when the green flag is clicked, I simply want to set the points to 0. And I don't want to show the shooting variable because it's something internal. I don't want my player to see that. So I'll try it out. I'll actually move the point to somewhere here. Okay, point is now 0, and I can actually start. Okay. It seems this game is quite simple at the moment. So what I'll do, to make it a bit more difficult, I will simply change the randomization. Instead of 1 to 6 seconds, I'll just use 1 to 3 seconds. That will mean that the vase will change its location more rapidly, making it harder for me to actually hit the vase by shooting it. Okay, obviously this game can be improved a lot. We can actually use levels if we wanted to, where in each level the amount of seconds the vase will wait will be reduced, making it more difficult to hit. We can add other objects in the middle that if we hit them we actually lose points rather than game them. The sky is the limit. But the idea of this tutorial was just to demonstrate how one can easily create a shooting game in Scratch.